Good morning and welcome to the Ridiculously Early J Morning Show. My name is Michael and today we are continuing work on jPrez. Yesterday we got quite a bit of work done on making the REPL actually interactive in the tool. So now you can type whatever you want in here and you get this nice interactive REPL without switching back and forth. So you can just go in here and record a presentation, and then down here at the bottom it is recording all your keystrokes. So you can press tab, go down here, and now you can press Shift-N to play that back, see the results, Shift-N, play that back, see the result. So it's actually working really well. The one thing that's missing is you have to retype those lines every single time. First of all, there's no copy and paste, but today what we're working on is the ability to press like the up and down keys and cycle through that history. So we're working on the jREPL command history. I'm envisioning a giant title popping up saying jREPL command history. So don't let me down, future Michael. So you press tab to get in here, you can say I10. So the new idea is I want to press the up key and retrieve I10. Now I have this information, there's a namespace called worlds. Let's see if this works. Worlds, so if I say ihist world, I should see I10 in there, and I should see ihist world. Let's see, yes. So that is my input history. And at any given time, I should have a pointer to that input history. And I think that should be part of the REPL widget itself. So the REPL widget should maintain a pointer into this history, because in theory there could be two REPLs on the screen. Like one is the presentation REPL for the thing I'm presenting, and one is like one for interacting with this program itself, scripting the program or something. Who knows? But this REPL should maintain pointer into this, basically just like this outline. In fact, this is called a list widget, and it has this cursor that moves back and forth. And that's pretty much exactly what I want for the REPL history. So I wonder if I can do some kind of like composition there. Maybe even pop up one of these widgets inside like a box or something and allow you to browse the history. At the very least, I could use this because the list has a cursor and it has the ability to get the current item. So I think every time I enter a line, I should have one of these list objects just hidden for now, maintained inside the REPL. So that would be a sub-object of the REPL. And then when I press up and down, I would move that. It would be like moving this up and down, except it would set the REPL's buffer to whatever was in the history at that point. And the very last slot would be whatever I'm currently typing. So when you press enter, it should move the internal cursor down to the bottom. It should overwrite that last item with whatever the final version of your buffer was. Yeah, that's perfect. So that's very easy to express. I can actually do that in 10 minutes, I think. All right, so where do I do it? I do it in REPL.ijs. So let's write out the plan. Tie REPL's the command history. So maintain an internal, invisible for now, list widget with input history. Last item is the current buffer. When do I set this? It can't just be anytime I'm editing. It has to be, so on up arrow, if I'm editing the last item in the list, then update the list. Else, okay, just do nothing. So we'll call it input hist, right? So maintain an internal invisible list widget called hist with input history. Last item is the current, last item in hist is the current edit buffer. That way you can go back in time, and then if you decide you didn't like it, you can go back to what you were editing just now. On up arrow, call back hist to move the history cursor. And then set B, the buffer, to val of hist, right? And then on down arrow, same thing, we call forward hist, and then set B to val hist. So those are easy to do. This is the tricky part on the up arrow. On accept, if B is not the same as last line in history, add it to the history. So if I say hello in bash, and I press up, I get hello. But now if I press up again, I get hello, and I press up a second time, I do not get hello. If I just manually type hello, I don't get hello and then press up again and get hello. It ignores the fact that I typed hello twice. It consolidates those two. But if I say goodbye, oh, I was just gonna say, I hope that's not some like secret Linux command that logs me out. Hello. So now if I press hello, goodbye, hello, yeah. So it only ignores it if you're typing the same thing over and over again consecutively. So is this what I want? Do we need a flag that says like that the last item is not baked yet? Maybe. So maybe this, and then maybe the other thing we might do is just if the last two items are the same, delete one. So one of those two will ensure input is in history, but remove consecutive duplicates. Is there anything else? I think that's it. And history already has the history list. Hang on. jkvm UI list.ijs already contains insert, and it already contains delete if we want to delete a duplicate, and it always contains forward and back. And then go Z takes me to the end of the list. And I'm sure at some point we might want to search the history or something, or as I said, pop it up as a widget and browse it. But I think this is sufficient for what we want. This is what I envisioned as the scope of this task. I think I can implement this in about 15 minutes, so I'm going to go for it. So in create, we're going to say TED is a Konu toked, which that's the token editor that colors the text. We're going to say hist is equal to Konu UI list. But we need to pass it a value, and I'm going to take the string that we pass in for the edit widget. So whatever we initialize this to, which is usually the empty string, I'm going to box that and stick it on the list object. I don't think I need to do that. I think the list itself boxes it. Let's see, create. It does not. It does expect boxes. Okay, so really we want this. So we want to take whatever Y is, and that will be the first item in the history. All right, so that's done. So the last item in history is the current edit buffer. I think that is set by up arrow. I don't think there's anything to do there yet, so let's just mark that done. On the up arrow, so where's my keyboard handler? So the standalone REPL is using the editor keys to manage this, and I need it to use render itself to manage it. So I'm gonna have to do some stupid keyboard fiddling stuff as well. So I'm gonna actually just break this into 2 tickets. Let's see, finish command history for standalone REPL, key bindings. Key binding issue. The issue being that I don't want the editor to know about history, right? Because the up and down arrows are going to do different things depending on where the line editor is added. So if it's in a text editor, then pressing up moves you to the previous line of the text editor, whereas here it's going to move you back in history. And so because the key bindings are so screwed up, I don't want to mess with this and actually implement this in different places. So for now, this is going to be implemented in jPrez only. So if I load up MJE, and I'm going to go to REPL keys, and in REPL keys I'm going to say basically these 2 operations. So KAR up is equal to REPL, I'll just call them forward and back in REPL. So up goes back and down goes forward in the REPL. Okay, so that's the keyboard handler, and now I have to implement these 2 functions. So forward is going to be something, and back is equal to this. Okay, so let's split my screen, and on up arrow, if I'm at the end of the list, then update the list, else okay. I'm going to go ahead and put keyboard handlers here as well, even though they're not actually used. KR up is equal to back, and KR down is equal to forward. These don't do anything, so I'll just comment them out for now, but just as reference. Okay, so on the up arrow, if I'm at the end of the list, then update the list, else okay. So if at Z of hist, then update the list. Why do I say that? On up arrow, I want to append it to the list. Forward hist, and then insert in the history B being the current buffer. So if I'm at the end of the history and I press up, then insert whatever I'm currently typing. Yeah, that strikes me as maybe that's not quite clear and probably not working, but we'll see. Call back of history to move the cursor, and then set val to the val of hist. I think that's it. And then the same thing here for forward. And then on accept, let's just go ahead and add it to the, so I see now it's not the buffer of the REPL, it's the buffer of ed. So b ed and set val of ed to the value of the history, set val of ed to the value of the history. And likewise, after we execute, we are going to set the value, no, we're going to insert into the history b of ed, and then we clear out the history, then we clear out the value. And then what I haven't done is the duplicate check. Let's see if this works. Tab I10, value error hist insert hist b of ed, but hist of REPL, coname, where am I at right now? 150. Co-current base. REPL is 150, okay. So hist of REPL should be, is it possible that I am never caught? Oh, I'm looking at syntax line. Okay, so this goes here. That's my problem, and so I think that was the only issue that I had. So yeah, this is a separate class. This is syntax line. Okay. All right, so now let's try this again. Tab I10, I120. Okay. Press up. Insert didn't work. Okay. Let's reload this. Tab I10 this time. Press up, down, up, up. Nothing is happening. Insert command of base, B of ed. Domain error, except REPL, B of ed. Oh, so one reason is that when you set this, the value is going to be in a box. And the other problem I'm seeing is that I'm not setting my R flag to 1, so I don't indicate that I need a refresh. R equals 1. So let's try this again. Reload. Come on. Tab, I10. Press up. Oh, look at that. I10. Oh, didn't like that. Didn't like that part, but let's try again. So I'm going to say line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. And when I say up, I get 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. So up is not working the way I expect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, okay, I'm pressing down. I'm pressing down until I get to the end here. I'm pressing up. I get a space. Pressing up, up. I get 1, 2, 3, 4. Up is back in the. Okay, so let's see what. I'm going to break it. I'm going to say the list of the history. The list of the history in REPL 4, 3, 2, 1. They're being inserted at the front. It's not what I want. Oh, because I said forward history. I left out this step. Go Z of hist. And now that. So let's try that again. So reload. Nope. Tab 1, 2, 3. Press up. I get 2, 1. Okay, so I didn't get the last item. At Z hist to insert hist. I want this to be go Z, and then I want it go Z again so that this triggers. And I think maybe there's a better way to do that, but I think that'll work. All right, so tab now 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way to the end, and I say 5. Up is 5, empty, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got this little empty string in here extra that is annoying, but let's see what happens if we just type 6. Up should be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when I press enter, that might just be a plain old bug that has to do with the length of the empty string. I'm not handling the empty string properly. I'm going to ignore that for now. Or actually, what I can do is, just to make sure I didn't create that just now, I'm going to git stash, run this, tab, enter. Yeah, so you can't see, but in this mess, it has that error, so that bug pre-existed. So I didn't just create that, but git stash pop. So everything's back now, but I need to put a line up in here for my inbox for a bug that I found. Inserting empty line breaks causes a crash, and then also probably want to start in REPL mode. Okay, at least I do right now. Okay, so now, given that was not a bug that I just created, I'm not going to try and fix it right now. So then we say 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter, I 10 enter for the first 10 primes, and then sum of the first 10 primes. All that is great. So now I can re-record my macros without having to retype everything by hand. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. I do have this empty blank line kind of thing going on. I'm going to try and fix that. So if I say it's the same thing, the list of the history, I'm just going to, when I set that history, I'm going to say L of hist is equal to L of hist minus the empty box. So is that an empty box? A is equal to this. Oh, so that one's an empty box, but this is a box containing the empty box. Actually, it's probably a box containing the empty string, which is the same. Yes? No? Okay. So the A colon is the box containing the empty string or empty list. So I want to remove this item. No, I want to remove, come on. I want to remove this item. Right, so the history list is the history list without any instance of the boxed empty string. So one more time, tab 1, 2, 3, and that's gone. Oh, it's not quite gone, is it? I wonder if I can just remove this. If at hist do, if I'm at the end, I still need this. If B of ed is not an exact match for A, for the empty box, do, no, but it wouldn't be the empty box. So if length of B of ed do insert hist box of B of ed. And there's a J enhancement proposal to have the word and in here that would do Boolean short circuit evaluation so that you wouldn't have to do a nested if here. I guess you don't really have to, but I would love to see that implemented. So I might actually volunteer for that one. All right, so one more time, break, reload. 1, 2, 3. And now when we press up, we get all that, and we go to the bottom. Oh, we still get an empty line. I almost feel like that shouldn't work, but it works, and it's doing exactly what I want, except for this bug that already existed. We're good. All right, let's see. So we did that. We did this. I'm not going to do sub items here. On accept, ensure the input is history. We did not remove consecutive duplicates. So I will just move this to the inbox for later. It's not terribly important. It's a nice to have issue. All right, I'm going to say I'm done. So this is what we accomplished in regems 18. So we call it REPL command history. All right, I'm going to go ahead and check that in. And as I said, it will be in the regems 18 tag on the jPrez repository. So thank you very much for watching. Those of you that have joined me on Twitch, and those of you watching on YouTube, leave a comment if you have any questions about any of this, or you can post to the Reddit forum, our Tangent Storm, and I will see you again soon. Thanks again.